Welcome back. Some local teams were looking to claim a state title today at the Dakota Bowl. We'll start with the game that just wrapped up from the Fargo Dome. We'll hear from John in a moment, but here are the highlights from the AA championship between Minot North and Devils Lake. We are guaranteed a first-time champion, but who will it be? Dramatic start to this one. Firebirds go 3 and out to start the game. Punt snap goes over the head of Mason Palmer, picks it up while his knee is down. That's a safety. Sentinels lead 2-0. But the rest of the first quarter was an avalanche from Devils Lake. Palmer working tirelessly to keep the play alive, heaves it downfield. It's William Heilman snagging the jump ball. North's long score is 6-2. Another explosive play for the Firebirds, backed up deep in their own territory. Briar Exner breaks tackle all the way down to the end zone for the 79-yard rushing touchdown. 13-2 just like that. All red and white on their feet. Final moments of the second quarter. Sentinels trailing 26-9 and needing a score. Braden Blickery is going to find his tailback Christian Dedmond for the score. However, as you see here, there's that score that they got just before the half, but Minot North would come up short in a second half that Devils Lake led the whole way. 39-34 is the final. The game just before Minot North, the Class A championship between Bottineau and undefeated Langdon area Munich. Can the 6-seeded Braves upset #1 Langdon? First possession, Bottineau tasked with a 4th and long. Emerson Merrim has his man Landon Grant down the seam. Braves strike first, 7-0. Later in the first, Cardinals go deep into their playbook. Wide receiver pass to a wide open Tanner McDonald, who backpedals in for the 6. The extra point would be no good. Now the team's far from done airing it out. Merrim looking long, and it's Skylar Foster in the end zone. 8-point lead as Merrim throws for 213 yards in the first half alone. The Langdon offense keeping pace though, and then some. Jax Johnson finding his big tight end Theo Romfo gallops into the end zone. 21-14 at halftime. Cardinals lead. That was still the score early in the fourth as they tasked with a 4th and 16. Johnson has time to throw it deep. Easton Schaefer comes down with it in the back of the end zone. That was a heck of a play, and that would be the final score of the game as Langdon area Munich completes the undefeated season with the 29-14 win. Now with that, we're going to go to our John Jacqueline live from the Fargo Dome. And John, these were a couple really good games, huh?
Hi, Joe. Yeah, 3 down, 1 to go here at the Fargo Dome, and all 3 of these games have been great football. We'll show you the 9-man highlights after this, but I'll start talking about the game that just wrapped up maybe about half an hour ago, Minot North versus Devils Lake. Things were looking really good in the first minute for the Sentinels with that safety. Then you got to give a lot of credit to this Devils Lake offense. The explosive plays. You had a 79-yard touchdown. The quarterback, Mason Palmer, was just a magician back there, both inside and outside of the pocket. You saw him on that long scramble leading to the first touchdown. And this is a Minot North team that has not trailed a whole lot this season. That last week versus Central Cass, that was really the first time that they had trailed. That was the first time they trailed in the fourth quarter. It just ended up being a little too much of a deficit for them to overcome. But got to credit the fight from these Minot North Sentinels. And then looking at Bottineau, man, what a game that the Braves played. That was a really tough matchup. You go against a team undefeated this season, just scored 36 points on Velvet last week. Emerson Merrim, he had 213 passing yards in the first half alone, ended up over 300, and that young man played his heart out today, just like the rest of the Braves. Now coming up at 10, we'll hear post-game interviews from both head coaches, Zach Keller and Jacob Holman. Really encourage you to tune into that. They gave really eloquent answers on how you handle losses and what this means for both programs, because at the end of the day, both the Braves and Sentinels, they're in this building for the very first time. And they have some great seniors who have built these programs into what it can be. I'll send it back to you, Joe.
All right, thank you, John. We'll look for you tonight. New Rockford Cheyenne took on Lemoore Litchfield Marion in a rematch from last year's 9-man title game. Rockets took off in the second quarter. Easton Simon showing the veteran presence with a rocket to Thomas Almaris, 8-0 with less than 7 minutes in the half. It was all New Rockford the rest of that half. This time, Almaris gets it on the ground. He makes it 16-0. But what Simon says goes. Rolling out and hitting his top target, Easton Benz going over the defender's head, 22-zip at the break. The Lobos make some noise in the second half with 2 Mason Workin touchdowns and this one from Logan Potts. But Simon and company put the game away with 2 more second half touchdowns. This one again going to Almaris on a day where Simon had 405 passing yards. New Rockford winning 38-22 on a great day for Easton Simon. Now Minot North also in another tournament today as the volleyball team looked to keep going through the WDA tournament. They were facing a Legacy squad that was also looking to keep their season alive. Late in the first set, Minot North's Leanne Sim with one of her 12 assists. She's going to set up Avon Kelly. Point Sentinels, they would lead 20-19. The Sabres keep their state tournament chances alive, though, with a big block. The Sentinels are unable to make the return. Legacy on top 28-27. Potential match point, Gracie Watson with the serve. Sentinels with the return, but the ball is going to go wide in set 1, goes to the Sabres. Legacy would go on to take the next 2 sets, and they sweep Minot North. And that's all we have in sports, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.